Hey, what's up guys? This is Rail Chief here and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mike and welcome back to Layout Update Part 6. Now, today's video is actually going to be a mixture between a layout update and a how-to tutorial because I'm going to be showing you guys how I made the river scene on my train layout, and maybe this will help some of you guys out there who are trying to build a river on your layout as well. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started. So the first thing that I did here was to remove the trestle bridge, and then I also had to remove the trestle sections as well. So I'm actually painting the rest of the river here with this acrylic paint. This is moss green made by Woodland Scenics, and this paint is actually going to help give the illusion that the water is actually getting deeper and deeper the more you head into the river. You guys will get a better idea of what I'm talking about here once we start adding our Mod Podge later on in the video. So once everything in the river here was all painted, it was time to put the trestle sections back where they were originally. While I was putting the trestle sections back, I realized I wanted to add a little touch of realism to the river here. So I decided to sculpt a little hilltop out of some modeling clay that I had lying around. To make sure that I don't get any Mod Podge on the edges of the table here, I covered up the edges with some painter's tape that I had lying around as well. Now that the hilltop was sculpted around the trestle section here, it was time to start painting. The color that I'm using for my hilltop is raw sienna. Also, the reason why I'm using raw sienna here versus the dark brown that I used in my previous video is because that I was starting to run out of paint, and so I had to work with what I had here. So as long as I cover this up with some grass and some bushes, I think it'll be okay. Now, as I was going around the hilltop here, I also wanted to get the white spots that we're seeing on the ground level of the river here. So while the paint was still wet, I went ahead with my canister and started sprinkling some grass on top of the hilltop here. So everything is starting to shape up here pretty nicely. So once the hilltop was all dried up, I went ahead and started removing the trestle section because I wanted to remove the masking tape that I wrapped around it earlier before. Now I also should have waited a little longer for the paint to dry, as well as the clay here. But I didn't really have enough time to work with here, so I just had to make sure to get this done as quick as I could. After that was done, I started putting the structure back into the hilltop. Now that the bridge was put back in place, it was time to add the water. So I took out this little jar of Mod Podge that I got at Michael's, and I started applying it to the river here. Now, unlike Woodland Scenic's realistic water, or even magic water for that matter, this stuff usually takes a little bit longer to dry, but I think you guys are going to be very happy with the results. Next up, I took my fan brush here and started spreading out this Mod Podge, because we want to make sure we get every little piece of the river here, whether it's a crack or crevice, because we want to make sure that the whole river scene is white. I accidentally got a little bit of Mod Podge on the hilltop here, but I can always go ahead and add a bush or something to it later on, so that way nobody would notice. Now, unlike the hilltop in the center here, we want to make sure we get the entire river, because once the entire river here is filled with Mod Podge, all we just have to do is wait a couple days for the Mod Podge to dry up, and then the river will have a very nice glossy finish to it. After spreading out the Mod Podge with my fan brush, I realized that there wasn't enough ripples in the water. So I went ahead and took out my airbrush kit and started blowing the Mod Podge left and right, so that way we can get more ripples in the water here. Now this scene isn't complete without having any fish in it, so let's go ahead and do that. So I bought a little package of fish at Michael's for a very decent price, and so I took each one out of the package and started applying it to the water, with their heads sticking up out of the water as well. And there's going to be some hungry fishermen looking for some fish that are going to be swimming by. So let's go ahead and take a little break, and we'll be back in a little while to finish up.
1 hour later, 5 hours later, 2 days later, in the void.
Okay, that was a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's been 2 days and the water is starting to clear up very nicely. I also want to point out that these pictures here that you see on the screen were actually taken way after the Mod Podge was completely dried, so I think it came out really good if I do say so myself. Okay, so even though the Mod Podge is all dried up here, it's still not 100% dry, because as you can see there's still some white spots in the water here. But, you know, it'll just take some time, so let's go ahead and start putting the truck back together. I also don't have my railroad bridge out for right now, so as a substitute, I made a little platform here using some old pieces of cardboard that I had lying around the room here. But as you can see, you can get a very nice view of the bridge as well as the fish coming out of the water here. So now that everything is installed, let's go ahead and turn the power on. We'll go run some trains for a little bit. Alright, so that's pretty much it for what I have to show you guys in today's layout update. This was a very fantastic video to work on. It was a lot of fun to make, and I couldn't be happier with the results when it comes to the river here. So I hope you all have enjoyed watching. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell for any other projects that I upload. And so anyway, that's it for now, and I hope to see you all in my next episode. Thanks again, and take care.